What's up guys, ViperFPV here, and today we have part 2 of the Gecko 4-inch build. If you haven't watched the first part and you want to watch that, I'll leave a little card up in the top right now. I'll also leave it down in the description of the video as well. But pretty much in the first part what we did is we covered doing the motors, wiring up the ESC, wiring up the, putting the flight controller on, and all that. And this part we're going to go ahead and hopefully finish this thing up. What I'm going to go ahead and do is start off with is mount the camera into the bay here, just like so. So I'm going to go ahead and get some screws, which we got some little screws that came with the frame, and I'm going to get my little screwdriver, wherever I put that thing at, and screw this sucker in. The only thing that sucks with the Caddx camera is it only has one screw that holds on both sides. It doesn't have like the two screws where it has the where you can really secures the camera down. Yeah, when you actually, yeah, these screws should be okay, I think. Actually, I think these are a little too long. Let's go ahead and go with some shorter screws. And yeah, looks like we got some in the bag from Caddx. So let's take this stuff out and just pour it out. That should be good enough. Came with these little shorter screws, so those are the ones I'll be using. Just so I don't go into the frame and ruin the camera. So let's screw that down in there on this side. And then we'll do the other side. Not mess up the wiring. It's starting to look pretty cool. I'll admit it. I'm liking the red. I would have done green with the Gecko, but there was no green cameras. It was either red or black, and got these motors that had red on them, so I was like, might as well just go with that. So tighten that up. Not crazy tight. I'll probably have to move it around anyway. And see, since there's a double screw in there, it moves around. That's pretty tight too, actually. But there is room to probably put another nut in this back here or something to keep it from moving, but we'll figure that out later. That's fine for now, though. At least it's mounted up there and it's out of the way. So what we'll go ahead and do is first, let's go ahead and get the cable for the Caddx camera. Comes with these plates too, which I don't need. It adds more height to the stack. But it should come with this little guy and then this guy here. This is what will plug into the, this should plug right into the board like so. And the pins are on the bottom. So we'll plug that in there. And I'm not going to put this on the stack yet. I'm just kind of getting this prepared because I do need to, or I still need to put the power thing on there. So let me go ahead and do that as well. But I'm just kind of preparing everything. So this is going to be the power ground video. So leave that there on the side. And this is for the little dongle. And then we have, let's go ahead and do that power cable here. Where is my plug? So this is what I'm doing. Kind of showed this in the first video. Got to tin these wires here. Let's do that real quick. Soldering iron's already set up and ready to go. So I'm just going to tin these suckers up. This is a lot. This is, I think these are 16 gauge wire I'm using. That's good. The other side. All right. A little glob on there. Cut that off. Okay. I'm going to tin this sucker up here. Starting to come together. Try to get those standoffs. This side too. Come on. All right. Now I'm trying to get in here without taking those standoffs. That sucked. Should just pop off though. Like I thought. Alright, I cut out me putting that on because I actually couldn't use this big one. This is a 14 gauge wire. Had to go down to 16 gauge wire and use this one. Plus it actually does slip out of the plate instead of that big connector. So next thing I'm going to do is I did print this out. This is actually for the side of the turtle to where it prevents the SD card from coming out. It actually makes a good spacer too. So I'm going to go ahead and install that here. And then I have this extra little guy that goes right there just to kind of give even height to it. And then we're going to go ahead and do, let's make sure this wire's not twisted up or anything like that. We're going to take it and install it down like so. That should be flat. Just making sure everything looks good. So far it looks okay. Nothing's touching nothing. Making sure it's clearing the connection. It's close, but it's not touching, so leave that like so. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to have to wire up. So I'm going to get this out of the way, the receiver. We need to wire up. This we're going to leave in the quad so we can play with the OSD. This one we're going to go ahead and cut. But I need to go ahead and make sure pretty much just where on the board we're going to be putting it at. Since we have ground, we have power, ground, and we have video. That's pretty much all it is. We just need to find the power, ground, video out. So this will be to video in. So we're going to go ahead and go, believe it or not, like right across from it. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-tin those wires, pre-tin the pads, so then I can just make a mental note of where they're at. So we have video out. So this first pin here, this one's ground, 3.3 volts. Then we have camera video out, that's for the VTX, camera control, and then video in. So then this will be ground. So we'll use this ground pad here. So I can get this thing freaking solder on there. I think my solder on is pretty much done. And we have one right there and right there. So those are the 3 wires we're going to be using. We have 3 wires there. Yep, perfect. So this is going to be a really close connection. So we can probably cut this sucker off probably right there and be good. So that's what I'm going to do. And then we're just going to strip these wires back. Strip this one back. and strip the ground wire back, like so. And then tin those pads up there. I'm gonna get down here real close to the camera, real close to the quad so I can just see. I hate soldering over the boards just because it's risky if you drop a bottle of solder on something. But that's good. Alright, I'll get my pliers out here and we'll go ahead and start connecting this thing up. So we're going to go ahead and connect the ground pad first. So we got the ground right here. Kind of turn it around. Let me zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing, because you're pretty far away. Alright, that's much better. Sorry, I didn't realize the camera was so far out. But yeah, we're connecting it to these 3 pins right there. So, where is my pliers? And we're going to just connect that sucker to the last pin there. We'll have a little bulb of solder on there. We don't want that on there. That's one. Okay, this one's a little long. I'm going to trim this back a little bit. That's that one, and then we have the video. And I did that, the power wire moved. Let me fix that. It's only me in the way of the camera shot. Twist this around a little bit for me, because it is touching the ground pad. There we go. Now it's not touching nothing. There we go. So now the external is pretty much connected. Now to just pop it back onto the standoff that it popped off of. And so we got that connected, we got that connected. The only thing really left to do is the VTX and then routing everything. So let me go ahead and get some little standoffs to put that on. And we're going to use just these guys here. If I can get the screw on there. I think that side's pushed up a little bit. Might have to trim those standoffs too a little bit, but we'll come to it later. And if you guys are curious about how tall this, pretty much the dimensions of this frame are, you can actually check out my overview of the Gecko, and I did do some measurements of everything. I believe it's around 22 millimeters tall. Push this down a little bit. That connector is kind of in the way of the standoff. Like, you think Caddx would have been a little better with trying to get everything on this board. I mean, on the split has 2 boards, but it's taller, but it's a little easier to mount. Plus, it doesn't have the missing standoff in the front, which kind of drives me nuts. Check on this side, see here. Still kind of push this down and give it a little, so I'm kind of giving it a lot of pressure. That side's okay. Yeah, that's about as good as it can get. So we're going to go ahead and, this is the AKK, goes up to 600 milliwatts. Go pop up like that. pretty easy, but first we have to do is we have to undo all this wiring. So let me go ahead and trim these wires back, just save some video time, and then I'll be right back with you guys. Alrighty, so I am back, and I actually did do a little bit more this time. I actually did wire, because I had to take this part off again. I don't feel like doing that again, so showing you guys me taking that all apart. But I pretty much just wired the AKK VTX directly to the battery leads on the ES401 ESC, and as you see there, just like that. So what I'm going to do is route these wires to the front, kind of move those out of the way, kind of tuck those down there, and what we're going to want to do, the button we want on top, like so, just in case I ever need to use the button, which I don't think I will, but we have it just like that. I'll mount pretty much just like that. Let me get the wire in the way. Kind of get those wires out of the way. Actually, probably better off just going that way. So maybe around that way. So this is the hard part. We're fitting everything, last little piece together, you know. And if I notice here right now is the MMCX connector will butt up against that. So what we're going to do is flip this around like so. Have the wires come out underneath. We should have two wires, yeah. One for smart audio and then the other one for video. And that should give it enough room to where it will not bump up against anything. Yep, that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and secure this down with some screws, some plastic screws. I need to get my little nuts out. That's right, my little nuts. I wish on the Gecko frame they just made it where there was bigger screws in the front too. Like had the, I forget what size they are. I guess M3. Yeah, I guess that would be M3 or M2. Yeah, because these are M2s. Those are M3s. Just so I don't have to use different hardware. But it's alright though, I guess. If you don't have it, then that's a pain in the butt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in this VTX too. Well, no, not yet. Because I have to solder at least a couple wires over there. So I got those kind of down for now, where it's not going to really move that much. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to put my soldering iron on, let that warm up, and then we'll start routing the wires to where I need to put them. So I need the video out, which will be, let me kind of zoom in for you guys real quick. Alright, so I kind of got this mounted on here, and I actually had to wire the power and the ground on the AKK receiver directly to the cable on the XT60 on the 4-in-1. And then I also had to use a UART on the bottom of the board, which that was a pain in the butt to get to. But I got it done. So the only thing I have left to do really on this thing is to just solder on the video out right here. And I didn't get any solder on it, did I? No. That time I did. So let me go ahead and get that connected, and we're going to be connecting that to the video out right here. Let me kind of move it down here. It's really kind of hard to see it, but it's right there. That's the video out. So we're going to go ahead and connect that sucker up. And plug that sucker in there. Oh, I'm in my way. I'm in your way. Let's switch this around. So right there. I'm kind of going to make it go to the side. Just so it's out of the way. So we got that done, and pretty much everything is wired up and ready to go. Now we're just kind of tucking everything in. making sure tighten bolts up and screws. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. How I'm gonna route this, I'm just gonna route this to the back. I'll have a pigtail, actually have a little 3D printed part I'm gonna put on the back, like so. And then just put the top plate on, and then it's pretty much good to go. So we go ahead and wrap this thing all up. Pretty much the build is almost done. Practically all the wiring is done. So let's go ahead and cut to the finished product right now. Alright guys, I'm back and I have the Gecko all assembled, the props on, everything is done. What pretty much I've done, as you can see here, is everything fits kind of nicely in the stack. And that's pretty much what the finished product will look like. Just a few tips though, if you are using the Helio Mini, when I used the S-Bus pad, I had to use it on UART 1. That is going to be the S-Bus UART that you want to use. But everything else should work pretty much just like that. I have that little thing. I already have an SD card put in there. So the next step is to go ahead and do a maiden flight, and we'll do that in a future video. But I appreciate you guys watching, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.